Hi guys, in this video I'm going to walk you through the other selection tools. In the previous one I showed you the techniques for working with the selections. So I already have an image here which I'm going to rasterize. And then the next group that we are going to be seeing in this video are the lassos, okay? And we have three: the lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool, and the magnetic lasso tool. The quickie of these tools is L, okay? So the first one is very simple to use. You just create freehanded style selections, okay? So there's no much to explain here. Remember, if what you selected is the thing that you want to remove, then you press delete. But if you want to remove the other part, like the opposite part, you need to invert it, right? So the shortcut, again, is Shift-Command-I to select the opposite, and then I press delete so I can only keep that part. And we also know that we need to deselect with Command-D to continue transforming my object, okay? Now, the second tool is a polygonal lasso tool. This tool works best with images like this, where we have straighter selections and maybe our hand is not that steady, okay? So we are going to repeat the process. I'm going to rasterize the layer because we're working with destructive editing. And what you're going to do is to simply do a bunch of clickings around the edges of the object that you want to keep. I'm going to do this really fast, okay, to the objects that I want to keep with no effort. Like I'm just simply clicking in those lines, and then I'm going to go to where I started my selection until that circle next to my cursor appears to close the selection, okay? The process is the same. If that's what you want to delete, you press delete. If not, we invert and we get rid of the excess, okay? Now, the third tool is the magnetic lasso tool. In the magnetic lasso tool, I'm going to use this photo, for example. Let me hide the others. Where am I? Those are my buildings. Okay, so I'm going to put this image over here. Let me resize it a little bit. There we go. And I will rasterize this layer as well. Now, as you can see, I have a pretty good contrast between my background and my object, so this tool won't be such a problem. Now, if I use the lasso tool, it's going to take me a lot of time to create this selection and it won't be that perfect. And if I use the polygonal lasso tool, since I have rounded edges, they maybe not get like super rounded. So I don't want that. We have this tool called the magnetic lasso tool. I also call it lasso. Lazy lasso, because you just need to click on one edge and then move your cursor around the edges or the borders of your image. Okay, let me zoom in so you can see better. To the borders of your image, so this tool can create the selection for you. Now, I have here problems with this selection. It's not selecting very good, right? So I need to change the contrast. I'm going to decrease the contrast and I'm going to make a better selection, okay? So the lower the contrast, the better the selection will be. Now, if for whatever reason you move your cursor and something like this happens, you just press Backspace to go back on that selection so that you can continue creating the selection. Now, what if there's no reason like for like the tool is not recognizing the edges? The good thing about this one is that you can control or also where you click. So you can click on this part where the tool is not recognizing that, and then you just continue moving around this image to create the selection, okay? So I can set some boundaries there, and then I can just simply continue moving the cursor around the object, and it will be a pretty decent selection, okay? This takes time, of course. Photoshop is patience, as I've told you many times. So once you finish your selection, let me undo there. Once you finish your selection, the process is exactly the same. We close it, we invert the selection because I want to remove the background, and I press delete, okay? And very simple, we have these 3 lasso tools to work with this type of images, okay?